Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. Welcome.
Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وارنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربي أني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أنت ربي لا إله إلا أنت خلقتني وأنا عبدك وعلى عهدك ووعدك ما استطعت فأعوذ بك من شر ما صنعت وأبوء لك بذنبي فاغفر لي فإنه لا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Welcome everyone. We have been studying the section Furqan of the Qur'an, 25th section of the Qur'an, and we studied the first verse. First, we had a long introduction to this section and also studied the first verse. Now we are still continuing the same topic of the first verse, and the importance of الذي له ملك السماوات والأرض ولم يتخذ ولدا ولم يكن له شريك في الملك وخلق كل شيء فقدره تقديرا. We emphasized on the importance of the verse. The Quran starts with verses which doesn't use the word God or any Rab, this kind of common words used in the Quran, but uses this alladhi, which means the one who, blessed that the one who sent down the criterion to this servant. It means criterion in general is the word of, to describe the Quran. Another, if you like, title of the Quran is Furqan, which means criterion. So to his servant, Abd, worshipper, we discussed a lot, heavily on the meaning of Abd, worshipper, so that he may be a warner to the whole world. Now still a description of the blessed, the one who does such and such things. Now continues in the second verse, it is he who has sovereignty over the heavens and the earth, and who took not a child, and who has no partner to help. I think we have studied this. We have studied this, and who has no partner or helper in sovereignty, and who created everything and determined it with precise determination. Now, we have studied this. Now, and we came here, I think, yes, we did. This is misleading. So for me, it is misleading for me. Excuse me. Now here, we are here. Now we understood that, first of all, before claiming that I believe in God, or stating a statement saying that God does such and such things, this section is interestingly introducing a method for us how to really present one's belief. If this person believes in the creator of the universe, he shouldn't start with the understood or conceived the concept of God, but by describing the evidence manifested in the universe. That is why we read this. The one who has It is the one who has sovereignty over the heavens and the earth, and who took no child. We discussed this in detail, and who has no partner or helper in sovereignty, and who created everything, then determined it with precise determination. It means drawing our attention, look at how perfectly the decision is made, or how perfectly creation is realized, that necessitates a conscious being. Now, counter-argument is coming here, and the counter-argument means presenting the people who don't believe in this message with some accusations, and the Qur'an is responding to their understanding or their interpretation of the creation, and the Quran challenges them by saying, وَاتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِهِ آلِهَةً لَا يَخْلُقُونَ شَيْئًا وَهُمْ يُخْلَقُونَ وَلَا يَمْلِكُونَ لأنفسهم ضرا ولا نفعا ولا يملكون موتا ولا حياة ولا نشورا. Interesting verse. So, yet some have chosen to worship gods other than him. Still, him refers to the one who has or who holds the sovereignty over the heavens and the earth, who takes no child. It means who has not inherited or has given any quality to what he has created, to be able, or the ability to create anything, and who has no partner or helper in sovereignty, means nothing of this universe can ever interfere into how the things are going to be created, and who created everything and decided how they should be perfectly established and working in harmony for a purpose, purposefully, harmoniously, wisely, etc. So the following verse says, that is misleading, let me delete this one. Yeah. Following verse says, yet some have chosen to worship gods other than him, gods who cannot create, but are themselves created, who have no power to protect themselves from harm or benefit themselves, and who have no power over death or life or resurrection. It means, how can they claim anything who has, chosen to worship God's means, I have asked the question, what does this verse refer to by saying worshiping gods? I think you all know this by now that we kept repeating this subject so far. So what does this verse refer to by saying worshiping gods? Any idea?
Does it mean idols? Other like false idols?
For example,
Um, Nature or materialism. Uh, nature comes to mind.
the things themselves.
Anything that we think is
Right.
going to give
Yeah.
us satisfaction.
Sorry, Asim, I couldn't hear you.
Anything that we think will give us satisfaction.
Yes, but that's correct. That's correct. As if they are creating our satisfaction. Because the context of the Quran, the verse is God who cannot create, but are themselves created. Now, for example, as you said, anything that satisfies our sense of satisfaction. That's correct. So, for example, can you give an example, what a person may think that this is the source of satisfaction for me, apart from the creator of the universe?
So, for example, I'm eating a healthy diet and I'm thinking that's satisfying me, for example.
Yeah, simply put it, the food is satisfying me. Correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. Air is satisfying me. But nowadays, the claim goes deeper into the minor world or micro world, and they say the things are perfecting themselves, and also I am perfected by the things that make me within myself, my cells, and some elements within my cells, so that I became a perfect human being now. And I am satisfied with my existence, because my existence, however it happened, adapted itself within the universe perfectly, so that I am surviving. These things are the sources of my bodily existence, existence of my feelings, existence of my consciousness. Look at all the stories. Now how do we do that? By assigning power to decide, power to create, power to choose, power to perfect themselves, by assigning the things, the parts of my body or parts of the body of another being, living being or non-living being, non-material beings and material beings. They themselves are satisfying. Now the gods became so small in the eye of, as I said, materialists, in the eye of materialist people, so small, so small, so small that the things themselves are just uh, vibrating, cannot stand, cannot stay or sustain their being are the source of my intelligence, but they cannot sustain their being. They are continuously disappearing. As they appear to exist, they disappear. That is how the contradiction became so much clearer for us, that their claim is so ridiculous, cannot sustain its existence, and these things, these elements, I mean, these particles, but minute particles, are arranging themselves in such a way that, yeah, in such a way that I became as I am now, including my feelings, with perfect, perfectly adjusted to my environment. This is, from the existential point of view, the most commonly accepted or claimed by scientists. The ordinary people are innocent. They just follow them. Some people don't take notice of them, but some people really appreciate their work, which is true. We have to appreciate their work, but their interpretation is, if you like, bundled with the work and presented to us as correct as their technological devices work. So yes, I understand the computer they made, these people made, scientists made, works. We understand, but it doesn't mean that their interpretation, bundled with the computer, saying that this happened by the particles themselves, arranging themselves, adapting themselves. This is the most common idol, God, or with in the language of Anne, idols nowadays. But as Feriha said uh, in chat box, my job and family life satisfies me. For example, that is, yes, we may think that my family satisfies me, but it doesn't mean that to have a family is something not good, but they are not the source of existence, of satisfaction. They can only be created beings by my creator to satisfy my needs, because I am arranged by the creator of the whole universe, who must be really holding the sovereignty of the whole universe in his own hand, singly, alone. Nothing can be accompanied with him, because he must be the absolute being. So we, I think, understand. Thank you for your contributions. If anyone else wants to say anything, I would love to hear what they say, what they will say. All right, I will make it more comfortable to follow. How does the Quran describe God? I think we have talked about it, but you can just summarize or share your idea. If someone says, who is or what is the God of the Quran, what would you say? How would you describe, as you believe in God as it is described in the Quran? How would you put it in a sentence, briefly? Yeah, we are proud of our belief in God, which is we call our religion as the religion of Islam, the most perfect religion. How would you describe the God of the Quran? Anyone?
Like Rabbul Alameen, Lord of the heavens and the earth, the one who gives existence.
The one gives existence, did you say?
Yes, the one who gives existence to me, to the whole universe.
Yeah. Can we use, thank you for your, of course, comment and being interactive. I appreciate interaction. Now, can we say this in a very wide meaning, the source of existence of the universe altogether, including everything, every single being in it at every moment, ever-changing universe, source of existence of the universe. How would you say about this?
I would say that goes along with the phrase you used in another class, continuous. I forget exactly the 4 words.
Yeah, orderly,
Yeah, orderly, continuous
creation.
creation.
Yeah,
That would encompass that.
yeah.
Definition would
So
encompass that.
if you like, the one who uh, who manages, arranges, gives existence to the orderly, continuous creation process that we observe in this universe. Does it cover?
I would say so, yes.
Yeah. This is how the Qur'an's God must be described in these days, especially. But in olden days, their cultural understanding, their reasoning way may be different from ours. What seems to be really, not maybe, definitely different from ours. So we have to adjust the definition of La ilaha illallah, which is the description, the most brief description of the God of the Quran. Nowadays, if we use there is no God but God, confusing. What do you mean by there is no God but God? It needs further explanation. And also, if we say, for example, the sovereign of the universe, but it doesn't really correspond to the existential level of the universe nowadays. One side of it, one aspect of it, yes, but not really a complete definition of the uh, God of the Quran. So we have to develop a phrase or a term which describes God according to the needs of this age. There are Feria, God is the one speaking to me in the Quran. But the question was, of course, what is the question? It's a right question. The question was, how does the Quran describe God? Which means, how should we or would we describe the God of the Quran? God of the Quran. It means I believe in Islam. What does it mean? The religion of the Quran? Because Islam means the Quran. Without Quran, there's no Islam. So the theory or theoretical side of Islam is established by the principles presented to us in the Quran. So the God of the Quran should be described as we have talked about with the help of our friends. So the questions three. Have you ever seen anyone who makes an idol and then says, this created everything, including human beings? These are obvious questions, but we have to develop our language. How are we going to speak in these days? That is why I think we have to try to put them in a sentence or phrase so that our intention, our belief must be clearly stated without confusing people, such as there is no God but God. For a contemporary English-speaking person, it is nonsense. I agree. So this now, have you ever seen anyone who makes an idol and then says this created everything, including human beings? Now, previously we discussed this. Sorry, have you ever seen anything or anyone who makes an idol and then says this satisfies me? Now, this created everything, including human beings, including human feelings. Have you ever seen anyone who makes an idol and claims this?
Well, wouldn't it be the scientists, the modern day scientists?
Not surprising. Yes. What they claim, if you really carefully scrutinize their language, they say the things themselves in the cell themselves are organizing within themselves, helping each other, so that human or the life will become better, adapting themselves to the universe in order to survive. How do they know about the universe? My particles of my cells. Do they have any knowledge? So the idol became minimized as much as possible so that it is as if not a seen idol, but only scientists can see it. Only scientists can see it. You know, this example often narrated saying that the king is, who was going to claim that king is naked? That person is stupid. Declare this first. And then if someone, no one dares to say that king is naked because, I must be stupid because I didn't see the cloth on him. No one says, but of course, this is an analogy, not real at all in real life. Of course, somebody, inshallah, all of us here should be courageous enough to say, king is absolutely naked. So scientists are absolutely telling the lie in their interpretation. Don't confuse in their interpretation of their findings, research findings. But what physically they find, how the universe works perfectly, because universe is perfectly arranged. That's why it works. Because what they do while they are making the things, they obey the order of the universe. Otherwise, they cannot be successful. But they don't say that I am thankful, I am grateful to the one who arranged the universe in such a way that it gives opportunity for us to make uh, the gadgets or tools that utilizes or facilitate our life. Yes, that is God's grace, not yours. Excuse me, scientist, my friend scientist, it is not you who is really giving this blessing to me. It is God's blessing. So shut up. But say that I worked for it. Ah, yeah, that's why I pay for you. So we have to make this distinction. How about interpretation saying that the things are functioning by themselves? I said, no, I am courageous enough to say that king is naked. So this is an obvious lie, just made up story. Why? Because they take themselves as gods. As gods, somebody, I think, am I wrong? Somebody said, my ego is the most effective gods of these days, nowadays. Most effective, most influential, influential God is, in fact, not theoretical, practical, in practical terms, God of ego, egotistics God within himself. That is why it is an extension of this personal egotistic interpretation of himself, understanding of himself to the created beings outside, and saying that they own themselves as I own myself. I don't want anyone to be superior over me, so I don't want anything in the universe. It is an extension of the same understanding and attitude. I don't think anyone in the existence of this universe that has anything over him. That's what they claim, over the things, sorry, over the things. That is just an extension of one's ego to interpret the universe, because they interpret it themselves. That is a very important point that usually Sufi scholars, in their theories, of course, not practical ones, I don't know about them, but in their original theoreticians, the great Sufi scholars say all the problem arises from human ego. All the misinterpretations arises from human ego, originates from human ego. That is what we have to be very careful about. Now, what are the most worshipped gods nowadays? I think we covered this. Now? Let's work on this last question, or rhetorical questions, of course. We are just trying to understand the Quranic verse that we are studying. Which piece of the verse, which word of the verse we have to pay attention to? So why do you think some people choose to worship things that they themselves the things that they themselves be created? Why did I write not be created? It's wrong, isn't it? Not is wrong.
Need to be created, maybe.
Sorry.
Need to be created.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. Just just a minute now. I have to correct this one. Why do you think some people choose to worship things that they themselves need to be created? Correct. Need to be created. Why do they do that? Any idea? No. I think we have mentioned and touched upon it a little bit by saying because they don't accept that they need to be created so that they will be obliged to be grateful to the one who created them. But they are very proud of their ego because everybody admires them because of the gadgets they make. Is it clear? Or would you like to say anything more on it? Or shall we just move on? Several answers. All right, what are they?
Just living heedlessly, first of all. Just taking things at their face value. Just like we were talking about earlier, a set lifestyle. That's it. I'm good. So I guess just pretty much worshiping life, I would say. People wearing t-shirts, good life. So I would say, first of all, being heedless, not being aware of, the existence of this universe. That would be one thing. Second would be negligence. I'm aware that the universe must have a creator, but I'm busy with my with my day-to-days. Third would be, like you were saying, the ego piece, where like, really the universe can be, but I'm controlling my life here, right? So ego doesn't want to release itself to its owner. I don't know. The reason I said several, because the question itself is like, wait, what? Why would some people choose?
Of course, what I asked is, what are the several things? For example, some samples of it that you mentioned. Thank you. They don't question, as questioning makes them answerable to someone. Yes, thank you, Ziba. First of all, they don't question. In fact, I believe, that is my belief, they deep down know that. But the conscious beings were not these ordinary people. They just live their life as Fariha described. They don't think, they don't reflect on it. So those conscious beings claims consciously, deliberately claim that I don't believe in God, but consciously, deliberately, not imitating the culture. They do that, as Ziba said in her comment. They know that if they openly question it, they will realize that they have no answer, especially satisfactory answer for their claim. That is why they don't even question and let others also even question in their own field. They don't let others speak according to their belief. Yes, Fariha?
Interesting topic we are on, because, first of all, I don't know that many conscious people who know, who are aware, but then consciously choose to deny the reality, because I feel, at least from my perspective, and people that I know, just simple-minded people, where once you know the truth of something, you're conscious and aware of it, it should really alert you, and there would be no place to deny it.
Yeah.
So I know we earlier said, yeah, like scientists or whatsoever, but I don't know, maybe I feel that there's like whatever they're claiming, either consciously or unconsciously, most likely consciously, like we're saying here, it's still, there's still something lacking within their understanding, because really, if you understand the reality of how this existence or this universe is happening, then seriously, that there won't be any way for one to be in denial while knowing the truth. I don't know. I feel like there's like a gap in understanding, as in like what we were saying. Oh, you're trying to understand, oh, this chromosome or this particle, like how we cannot even study into a lab because, every moment it's in motion, particle is not causing particle B. So how come all these qualities are inexistent, right? So I would say it's like not going beyond, like what else can it be? It's just maybe satisfying oneself that, oh, whatever I see in the universe, nothing of this universe. I think just getting to the conclusion of there must be an absolute source of existence giving existence. Maybe that idea hasn't even entered the mind.
Yes.
Because we're so fixated on within the universe, discovering, let's go deeper, that I think entertaining this idea of something not of the nature of this universe, or there must be an absolute source not of the nature of this universe, doesn't even occur. I'm just sharing some thoughts here.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
I don't hang out with scientists.
Thank you very much. None of us is the scientist. Yes, you are right. Deliberately, I should say, rather than consciously, but they know that they are denying the truth, but deliberately insisting and imposing their ideas on others. That's what it should be said. Okay, I think we can move to the other one. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِنْ هَذَا إِلَّا إِفْكٌ افْتَرَاهُ وَأَعَانَهُ عَلَيْهِ قَوْمٌ آخَرُونَ فَقَدْ جَاءُوا ظُلْمًا وَزُورًا. Now, the disbelievers say, now the Quran presented the case how the universe is owned by someone. That is the one who has revealed this Quran. It means, I think we should keep in mind that the Quran said the one who created the universe has revealed this message, the Furqan, to you. The owner of the universe is speaking now. But it means the universe and the Quran witnessing to each other. And then says, to the counter or claim, وقال الذين كفروا إن هذا إلا إفك افتراه وأعانه عليه قوم آخرون فقد جاءوا ظلما وزورا. The disbelievers say the Quran is nothing but a fabrication which he made up with the help of the others. Their claim is totally unjustified and untrue. From there, Quran says, وَجَاءُوا ظُلْمًا وَزُورًا. It means totally wrong. Here is translated as unjustified and untrue. So the question is that this is only one of the accusations made during the life of the Prophet, okay, because there are other accusations narrated in the Quran. How about now? What do they say? Do they say that the Quran is fabricated and made up with the help of others? It means by Muhammad with the help of others. Do they say nowadays, have you heard that Muhammad wrote this book with the help of others? nowadays.
No,
Yeah,
people
correct.
don't even think about anything anymore, so they won't even bother.
Those deliberately claiming, we are talking about not the people in the street, those deliberately claiming and speaking against Quran and Islam and belief in God. We are talking about these people. And these are not many, but the most influential in the society. They shape the minds of general public who are not really carefully thinking about the reality, maybe bothering about the reality of their own existence. These are manipulated. This great majority of the people manipulated with this a handful of people. So we have to answer. We have to prepare our minds how to answer them. Right. So what do they say nowadays? Yeah?
I actually don't have an answer to that particular question. I was just wondering, I think for me, accusations are made by ignorant people, and ignorant people are everywhere. As Farha said, so I don't know who's making these accusations. You said there's some people making them. I haven't heard of them other than ignorant people. But I get the sense you're not talking about ignorant people. You're talking about some other kind of people.
They are conscious, deliberately, for example, publishing books, claiming that science is the answer to human questions. And they say, we believe in science, we don't believe in religion, which is just nothing but fiction, not reality. This kind of culture invaded the minds of the people, and everything without openly declaring, they are claiming this, saying the science will explain everything. Don't worry about it. Just take care of your daily life.
Oh, that would be the general public then.
Yeah, that is what their mind is shaped by certain people.
Mhm.
I don't know the names, and there is no need to mention the names, but they are very influential, and they are shaping the minds of general public by ideas. If you speak to an ordinary person without realizing, they may say Islam, oh, it's the religion of Arabs. And as if, well, this has nothing to do with me. Let them believe if they want. Yeah. But they are not deliberately fabricating these accusations. Ordinary people. They just borrow from the general culture, as I understand. All right. The second question, do we see that in this accusation, they are in fact revealing the fact that Muhammad cannot write this Quran by himself? In the life of during the life of the Prophet, this is interesting. Oh, let me see this one as well. Oh, now the question third question. What do you think those who believed in Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam that time said when they heard this verse? Yeah, I think we have to talk about it. Now, this verse says the disbelievers say that the Quran is nothing but a fabrication which he made up, Muhammad made up, with the help of others. Now, what this verse infers that Muhammad cannot make himself, revealing the fact that Muhammad cannot write this Quran by himself because they know that he is illiterate. But if he was not illiterate, if he had some education from other Christian scholars or Jewish rabbis, learned all this, especially the stories or narrations in Torah, so the people around them will say, I believe that if they knew that, if there was the case, Muhammad learned from others because he was a knowledgeable person, educated person, got special lessons from other followers of the religion. And if it was the case, the people, they would say, you are saying that قال الذين كفروا, the disbelievers say this Quran is nothing but a fabrication which he made up with the help of others. Yes, we know that you took some sort of learning process from some rabbis. Why do you say the kafaru, disbelievers? No, we know that you are. They didn't give any credit to this option, but they say, yeah, disbelievers say this, but we know it is not the case. This is the time, in the time of the prophet prophet's age. So we have to understand that these kind of verses are still in the Quran. Why do you think they are still in the Quran? Although, do you think we don't do you think we need it now? We need this information now? Although no one claims nowadays that Muhammad wrote this book with the help of others. They say nowadays, Muhammad wrote those disbelievers. Muhammad wrote the Quran by himself. But in that time, Quran says, no, they claim that he wrote it with the help of others. No, I don't know whether I put my question clearly. Why, since this claim is not the subject of today's people, why this verse is still in the Quran? Why is it still in the Quran? Do we need it? Have you thought about it? Do we need this information?
Well, I haven't thought about this before, but I would say yes, we do need this information.
Yes, why? Yeah.
Because I think there's still, disbelievers are still doubtful of the ability of an illiterate man to write such beautiful, or to speak, sorry, such beautiful, almost poetry. So I think it's still valid today, in fact, actually. We need to be, yeah, as people are saying in the chat, we need to be reminded all the time. I think it's something that disbelievers throw out with great regularity because they're ignorant.
Okay, sorry, let me see what is in the chat. Thank you, but let me see. Quran is still here. Yes, as a proof for itself. But why is this verse, particular verse, is why is this particular verse still in the Quran? Since people nowadays claim, as I understood from Anne, he wrote it. It's a beautiful poetry, but Muhammad himself wrote it. But this verse says he wrote it with the help of others. And it was a serious case in his time. And how is it related to us? That's why we have to understand this verse as relating to our life right now. Yes, Fariha?
I'll try to answer based on my understanding, or I'm pretty much coming off the street, right, Dr. Ali? So these are the people I hang around with off the street. So to answer this question, I feel it's just a matter of making people realize that, hey, when you conclude that I must have a creator, then this creator must speak to the human being. And so when people are alerted that, hey, the creator of the universe must speak to a human being, then, I think it would lead us to further reflect upon how would this creator of the universe speak to a human being. And so I guess within that thought process, then one can conclude, hey, this Quran was spoken, is a speech of God to a human being. What I'm trying to get at is pretty much, again, coming off the street, is that to alert me that if I conclude that I must have a creator, then this creator must speak to me. And how does this creator speak to me? He must speak to me in a human language. And so,
Fariha, I think the question is not related to what you are saying. The question is, excuse me, but the question is, this verse says, the disbelievers say the Quran is nothing but a fabrication which Muhammad, made up with the help of others. But nowadays, no one says this. Do we need this verse now? Or how can I benefit from this verse now? Because nowadays, people say Muhammad made or wrote this Quran. I think the question...
That makes more sense. Thank you. And so I wouldn't have the answer to it. Thank you for clarifying that question.
People of the book, Jews and Christians, have things common that are mentioned in the Quran. Yes, but the question is there. It is very important that we are almost out of time. Now, it is a very important question. Although nowadays people say and accuse that, well, Quran, Muhammad wrote it. I mean, most of the disbelievers, maybe all disbelievers, say Muhammad wrote this book. But the Quran says, look, in his time, this verse is there. In his time, the people who lived with Muhammad cannot or could not say anything about this verse. Disbelievers is saying that this is but fabrication made up with the help of others by Muhammad, with the help of others. This verse infers that or teaches us that Muhammad was an illiterate person, uneducated person. He has not learned anything from others. How can he wrote this book now? How can he wrote? In that time, none of the believers said, yes, Muhammad, you are a learned people. We know that you know how to read and write. In the Quran, it says you don't know how to read and write. In the Quran says also, you didn't know what the Quran is. what the Quran is. What was the verse? Mel Qur'anu wema. If someone remembers this verse, أنت لا تعلم ما القرآن. You didn't know what Quran is. What, in other words, didn't come to my mind. In other word of the same word. Mel Qur'anu. I forgot. It means in the Quran itself says you are an illiterate person, you are not educated, and you don't know anything by yourself. And that time, people, if he was a learned person, if he was an illiterate, he was not an illiterate person, educated person, they would say, look, you are saying I am an illiterate person, but we know that you know how to read and write. We know that you have been studying books. I think it was the kitab in the verse. You didn't know what the book is. You didn't know what Quran is. I think so, if I'm not confused with the verse. Anyways, but they didn't say it. It means Muhammad was an illiterate person. Look at the Quran now. Now, look at the Quran now. Can an illiterate person, 1400 years ago, write a book that we are reading with so much information about all the stories mentioned in Torah and also realities of the existence that we are discovering nowadays? Is it really possible that this book is written by an illiterate, uneducated person? As Ziba said, with its perfect, precise, very concise language. So we have to benefit from these verses saying that, of course, their contemporaries of Muhammad, the contemporaries of Muhammad, could not say, look, you are saying this and you are a liar. Because we know you are educated. We know you have taken education from some other scholars, but they were devoted their life to him. It means they proved by believing and following the Prophet. Feriha agree. The Quran cannot be written by someone or anyone off the street, illiterate person. Impossible. So thank you, Feria. So nowadays we need these verses because the contemporaries who knew Muhammad, we don't know Muhammad. So we cannot say, oh, I don't know, maybe he got the help of others. Well, I don't know him. I've never seen him. I've never experienced his life. But his contemporaries didn't reject Muhammad because you are a liar. You were educated. I'm repeating myself. I am sorry. So we need these verses. There are other verses as well, as Ziba wrote earlier on. Quran is still here as a proof for itself. Yes, that's what we are trying to understand. Why Quran is still here as a proof for itself. That's what we are trying to understand. That the main point is this kind of argument seems to be valid only during the life of the Prophet, but not. It is valid for me now because I should say an illiterate person, as Feriha said, cannot be the author of this book. Impossible. Mentioning about something that, for example, the absolute creator of the universe and his absolute qualities, and claiming that nothing can have any power to create. Still, no one can ever demonstrated, well, could ever demonstrate and can ever demonstrate and will ever demonstrate that these unconscious particles can be the source of their own existence, let alone their own qualities, which will develop into the living beings or this universe perfectly arranged. So we need this kind of verses now in order to have a satisfied heart. Anyone else to say something? I think the time is up. Oh, a few minutes, even we are late, a few minutes. If no one else, I will stop here. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين بحرمة سر سورة الفاتحة.